What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're having a fantastic day. So before we get into today's video, I'm finally back on the COD Mobile channel. Huge shout out to them for actually letting me put videos out on here. It's amazing. I love what they're doing with this. And in today's video that I'm bringing you, I'm going to be showing you the top 5 weapons in the game right now that you should probably be using in ranked when you go against those really sweaty players. It's going to make you play to the best of your abilities and bring out your full potential using these different weapons. Now, of course, there's 5 of them. And I forgot to mention that I'm actually going to be showing you my class setups for it. So I'm not only going to be explaining why I believe these weapons should be placed at certain positions, I'm actually going to be showing you my attachments and just give you a couple tips and tricks on how to use the gun. And number 1 isn't like really a solid place. You can really use whatever weapon you prefer out of these top 5. These are just going to be the ones that are going to be winning you more gunfights because they either have good mobility, very little recoil, good damage. It's just a combo of all those things that make these guns stand out compared to all of the rest. Now, new guns are dropping every season. So without further ado, let's hop into the number 5 weapon on this list. And if you guys have not yet hit the sub button, I mean, why would you not be subbed to the official COD Mobile channel? Anyways, number 5 on this list is actually the new weapon, the PP Bison SMG. Like I said, the PP19 Bison is my number 5 pick for this list this season, and this gun is fairly new. I guess we'll kind of see how it pans out if we watch a little bit of the upcoming pro scene, but what I can tell right now is that it's just absolutely amazing. It has very little recoil. It kind of feels like the GKS a little bit, but it just has way more benefits than actually using the GKS. For example, it has a 64 round mag, which is really nuts. It's like a mini LMG pretty much in SMG form. It has really good mobility too. I actually have some attachments that decrease its mobility, but it still has 81 with these on. Its damage is pretty solid. You can actually 3-shot with it, but most of the time you're going to hit 4 shots. But that does not matter that much because it has a ton of mobility. So even if you do miss a shot or two, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to juke around and hit them from another angle or head glitch. And my attachments are just going to help you a little bit with the ADS spread. And I also like to run suppressor on this because it's not the best close quarters SMG in the game. There's like the QQ9, for example. So you want to be a little bit stealthy and play a little bit slower than you would with the average SMG with this. But because of its 64 round mag, very little recoil, decent damage, and a couple other things, I would definitely place it as number 5 on this list. And if you guys would like to put any other guns on this list, make sure to comment it below and why you think that, because it could be a very valid reason. A lot of this is just subjective. Anyways, let's move on to our number 4 weapon on this list. So coming in at number 4 on this list, and this might surprise a couple people, it's actually the Fennec. This gun is very underrated. I barely ever actually see it being used in ranked. I believe it actually should be used a lot more. I just think it's a little bit hard to use. So this gun, if you master it, it's extremely deadly, but it just has a little bit of a higher skill cap than other SMGs that you can use. There is a couple reasons I actually have it at number 4, and the first one is its mobility. Crazy. I don't think I need to say anything except for that. It has like an 80 mobility, 82. You can actually put attachments on it that are going to boost it up to like 90, which is nuts. I think most SMGs with over an 80 mobility are going to be really solid, and that's just what you want pretty much. And to go alongside with its crazy mobility, its fire rate is just, its basic starting fire rate is 111, which is the fastest in the game. And you can probably guess with that kind of fire rate at close range, this is just going to be a monster. You're just going to absolutely remove enemies. And it also has super accurate hip fire, which makes it even deadlier at close range. It's almost unbeatable. You can beat it with a couple shotguns, but the good thing about this compared to shotguns is this actually has a little bit more range. So sometimes you can actually win medium range gunfights, and that's why I have red dot, because I just feel like it's a lot easier to control than when you're using the iron sight. You can take that off if you want, maybe put on like a stock or a barrel to help reduce the vertical recoil. But everything else I think you should have. This is more of an ADS build. You can go for hip fire if you want, but I really prefer this one. So now it's time to move to number 3 on our list, and we actually have the DRH, which I'm assuming a lot of people definitely expected to be on this list because it's still a very consistent 3-shot assault rifle with very good mobility. So it's just gonna clap. This maybe would have been one place higher last season, but there was a new weapon that shot up the ranks, and it's actually at number 1 right now. I'm sure you can guess what it is, but I'll tell you later on in the video. But the DRH, it's an old friend to all of us, I believe. It's been around for like 3 or 4 seasons now, and it's been very strong since it actually released. But if you're a new player to the game and you actually don't have 25 round OTM mag unlocked, then maybe you don't really want to use this weapon until you get it, or grind it and then get this attachment and use it in rank, because this makes it a 3-shot. Without it, it's not really going to be a 3-shot. Most of my attachments are actually just for ADS spread control, which is very important because this gun has a ton of that. That's like its really only downside. It barely has any recoil. So yeah, if you guys have not already, try it out. I'm sure you probably have, but if you haven't tried my class, definitely try it out. You guys might have seen this class in actually some of my videos, and if you haven't, you should definitely search up Godzly on YouTube. And I make tons of class setups and just entertaining videos. I'm sure you guys will like them. Anyways, let's move on to the next weapon on this list. Actually, number 2. Number 2 is the Man of War. Now, this is actually interchangeable, I would say, with number 1. Just depends what type of player you are. If you're an assault rifle player, this is your number 1 weapon. But if you're an SMG player, then the next weapon on this list is going to be your absolute best friend. But the Man of War is kind of similar to the DRH. It actually has a little bit less mobility, but its 3-shot range is longer and it's more consistent. It does 3-shot to like limbs too. So I would just recommend using this, unless maybe you're better at movement, then I would recommend using the DRH. But for most people, this is just going to be way more consistent. So what I have on here is actually I run red dot because I'm not a huge fan of the iron sights on the Man of War. But if you like them and you prefer them, then I would take off red dot and put on an underbarrel or a stock. Put on an underbarrel, that'll help you with ADS spread accuracy. That's very important. Now, you might have noticed I mentioned ADS spread accuracy a couple times throughout this video. If you actually don't know what that means, it's when you're shooting and say your crosshair is actually on an enemy, but your bullets go around the outside of the crosshair. That's what ADS spread accuracy is, aim down sight accuracy. And you can't really control that. Each weapon has a different like variable for that. Some weapons have more than others, and the Man of War has a bit, so that's why I put attachments to help with that. Anyways, let's move on to number 1 on this list. I'm sure you probably guessed it. It's actually my favorite weapon of all time. It just got a massive buff in the last update. They very much increased its mobility. The mobility on it is out of this world now. I'm sure you've probably played against this weapon. People look like they're zigzagging back and forth, and they also buffed its damage a little bit, so you're going to be shredding enemies. My class setup is mainly for mobility, but I do have one attachment, Ranger foregrip, to help you beam people across the map. This is undisputed. I think right now is the best weapon in the game. No one can really argue with it. It's what you see in most legendary ranked lobbies. I understand why people play with it. There's just so many pros to it. It shreds. It's really hard to keep up with, and I'm very happy this is actually the number 1 weapon on the list. For a while we had an assault rifle meta, and I'm more of an SMG guy. I think SMGs are really fun. I love fast-paced, aggressive gameplay, and the QQ9 allows for that to happen. I think the meta right now is super balanced. As you can see, there was 2 assault rifles on the list and 3 SMGs. Now you might be like, Godzly, you actually did not put snipers on this list. I am offended. I'm sorry, guys. Snipers, it's all about how good you are and how good your aim is and how used to you are sniping. Like, I mean, it could be different for person to person. So that's pretty much the whole list for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button. Again, shout out to COD Mobile for letting me put this out on their channel. Make sure to go check out my channel, or there will be a link in the description, or just search up Godzly if you want. Anyways, have a good one, and I'll see you guys later.